Hello, good morning, welcome to the Trews. Trews is the true news. What do you mean I've got a blanket around my head that look a bit like E.T. or like I've got all religious? That's just a new thing I'm doing every day from now on. I don't know why it's there, I've just been doing yoga, don't judge me. Today we're talking about poverty, and it's going to be built around Bill O'Reilly, my friend from Fox News, who won't have me on his show. I've took it to be cowardice. Bill, you coward, not having me on your show. They booked me, and then they backed out. It's interesting. Let's have a look what Bill O'Reilly, a man with good previous when handling the vulnerable, has to say on the subject.
Poverty in America, we just talked about a little bit with it with Geraldo Rivera, where the feds aren't stopping in Colorado and Washington people from using welfare money to buy pot. It's insane. You know it's insane. Everybody does.
It's insane. Everybody knows it's insane. If you're on welfare, why would you want to escape from that grim, desperate reality? Why would you want to alleviate that tension through smoking pot? You wouldn't. It's insane. It's just insane.
But poverty itself, when you look at the study from the Heritage Foundation and all the things that poor people have.
I don't know if Bill karate chopped his way through that. If you look at the study from the Heritage Foundation, there it is. I'm chopping it up like a loaf of hatred.
And when you consider that poor people can get $40,000 and more in some states in welfare payments.
Poor people, they're getting $40,000 in some states. Poor people, life's like a merry-go-round. Don't the adjective answer the questions for you?
I don't think we really have any destitution anymore here, do we?
No, Bill. There's no destitution anywhere in America. The US now has the third worst poverty rate among developed nations.
Look, I think that poor people in America are trapped in a welfare web. You are surrounded by goodies that are put onto you.
I'm in a welfare web. I'm trapped by all these goodies. I've been on welfare. It wasn't a web. It was horrible. I walked past the dole queue this morning, round from where I live in Shoreditch. I don't think, you lucky bastards. Just look inside yourself. Would you rather be A, poor, or B, not poor?
You are surrounded by goodies that are put onto you
but
if you don't have a job and you're in your lower end of society.
But that keeps them at least living.
It's a trap. It's an absolute trap.
It's a terrible, manipulative, hateful piece of information where he's presenting information around welfare from the worst possible perspective. When it comes to the Middle East and an invasion, they'll present it from the best possible perspective from people like Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Fox News, and his affiliates in energy companies, military-industrial complex, and government. All of the information skewed to the most negative possible outcome. So in the end, you start thinking, I'd rather go to war against ISIS again than receive any benefits from my numerous disabled relatives.
If you pay people not to work, they don't work.
But if you don't have these things, then they would be destitute, some of them. Because some of them are addicted, they're mentally ill.
It's that bit where Bill was forced into being compassionate because Stuart Varney's the most evil person in the world. They're trapped in a trap, they're trapped like in a mouse trap, like mice. Why does he talk that way? Hello, why does he talk like the person who reads the prizes on The Price is Right? Look at what you could have won, a lifetime in a trap, a poverty trap, but you're happy in there in your trap. Look at that, you've got a gangrenous foot from your drug addiction, but you're happy in the trap. So evil that Bill is having to do his version of Devil's Advocate, which means normal, common, decent person's advocate. Oh God, today I said that poor people should be ground out like cigars. Oh well.
So you almost have to provide some kind of safety net for
I
them.
am not beyond any kind of safety net at all. We've just put the bar in the wrong place.
I'm not beyond any safety net at all. I'd say put the safety net underneath all the spikes and sharks. So first of all, you hit the spikes, then you go through that into the sharks, and then all of the mincemeat that's left of you can fall into the net.
The bar at the moment is very high. Welfare is very, very generous. You can get all kinds of things.
So you
can get all kind of things. There's scurvy, syphilis. What is it that he thinks people are getting? You can imagine old Stuart Varney. Surely, Stuart, if like a member of your family was destitute and poor, you'd want them to be taken care of, wouldn't you?
You make sure you get things right, but you simply lower the level of welfare. It sounds harsh, but what is more harsh, I think, is to keep people in a gilded cage.
It ain't gilded. Gilded is a nice thing. Oh, look at that. We've got your cage. Yeah. But we've gilded it. Oh, okay. Let's just have a look at the gilding. This is what we've got a cage. Yeah. There's shit in it.
keep them in the
But some of them
That's
want
harsh.
to be in that cage. They're used to this life.
You've got to be encouraged to fight your way out. You've got to be pushed out. You've got to get yourself together and fight your way out.
Stuart, you cunt. When were you poor? When were you poor? When did you fight your way? I can tell from your voice, it was never. I can tell from your voice, it was never. When I was fighting my way out of Eton College, one day I nearly tripped up on a top hat.
But the people have to want to have the job, number one, and then they have to be capable of performing inside the job.
Yeah, but they gotta want the job, the fuckers, the fucking lazy pigs. Why don't we put them in jail? We can charge for the jails. We can charge them to be in the jails.
And I, from my own experience, know that if you're ill-educated and you can't speak English well,
Bill, where you going?
and you're not motivated to succeed,
You're not motivated to succeed because you are listening to hip-hop, maybe, or you're eating some rice and peas, possibly, or...
you're not motivated to succeed because you are getting free stuff from the government.
Free stuff from the government. No, from the government. It's free stuff. A beach ball. A pet penguin to call your own. A kite.
That you're going to fail. But how do we... Here's a question I want to put to you, because England has a poverty problem too. But it's the same thing. You have government assistance in England that keeps them at a certain level so they're not destitute, so they can have food on the table and a pint or two of Guinness.
Correct.
All right?
They can have food on the table. I don't know what that's made of, that table. Playing cards and Union Jacks, I suppose. And they can have a pint of Guinness, a couple of pints of Guinness. Little half pint for the children? I don't know. What's he thinking of this, Bill O'Reilly? For fuck's sake, racist. He's been racist against us now. He's expanded his racism from immigrants and anyone who's got the same colour as him to us.
So we have the same system. But how do you... What drives poverty, in your opinion? What's the number one driver of it? Bad parents, fractured families, bad education? What is it?
I'll handle this one, Bill. What it is, right, is some people have got loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of money. Those people are really well protected by the system. Then we have a media that says it's the poor people's fault that they are poor, not the rich people's fault who have got loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of money and a system that prevents any mobility or change. That's the reason. Stuart's probably about to say something similar.
What is it?
It's a culture of poverty.
It's the culture of poverty. Of course it is.
A culture of dependency. That's what I think is clearly wrong here.
Here are some facts and some information. According to the US Census Bureau, poverty is a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 children under 18 that earn less than 23 grand a year. Fucking hell, that's terrible. That's really, really poor. I think you could put people lower than that. 50 million Americans and 30 million children are growing up in poverty. That's 1 in 5 children growing up in poverty. That's too many, surely. And that's with that already painfully low barrier that we just saw. Children living in poverty have a high number of absenteeism or leave school altogether because they're more likely to have to work or care for family members. No, they don't. They're at home with their treats, their trinkets, their toys and free stuff from the government. The number of Americans on food stamps surpassed 41 million for the first time ever in June. Why are we not reading these symptoms as evidence of a failing system? Why are we not looking at alternatives?
You're snowed under with offers from the government to help you out.
You're snowed under! Right, I think I'll go out and get a job. Let me just see if I can get the front door open. There seems to be some resistance. It's offers from the government!
You're under no impetus to get out of it and fight your way out.
How can you be provided with skills? Don't you have to go out and acquire
skills? You've got to want to get them.
Yes, that's right. That's it.
You've got to get back to what America used to be.
Full of Native Americans, the slave trade. What part of American history in particular, Stuart, are you hoping to recreate now? The slavery, the genocides, the Dust Bowl economic collapse of the 30s?
Fight your way up. Move up the food chain by your own individual drive and effort.
Once again, Stuart Hall there indicatively used the phrase food chain, which is a reference to a concept called social Darwinism, where some of the principles found in Darwinism, the evolutionary theory, were applied to economics, ignoring the fact that throughout Darwinism there's talk of cooperation, altruism, the way the species cooperate in order to survive. This selective social Darwinism is to advance a political and economic idea that individual supremacy is what's important, that we have no social culpability, because them lot will look after each other. I know they will. I've seen it. What they're resistant to doing is looking after the rest of us. That's why they use propaganda and lies like this and blame the most vulnerable members of society instead of reaching out a helping hand, which all of us know is the answer.
Rekindle that somehow or other.
All right.
Do that and you're okay.
Rekindle that. Is that the solution to it? Rekindle it and somehow or other. He's not got no ideas at all. You come on my TV set and your end point is rekindle it somehow or another just to justify letting people be poor and condemning people for being poor. 40%, here's some actual facts, some true news. 40% of children living in poverty aren't prepared for primary schooling. So right at the beginning of life, you've got people that are disadvantaged outsiders. Children that live below the poverty line are 1.3 times more likely to have developmental delays or learning disabilities, further endorsement of that. By the end of 4th grade, African American, Hispanic and low income students are already 2 years behind grade level. By the time they reach 12th grade, they're 4 years behind. The nation's lowest performing high schools produce 58% of all African American dropouts and 50% of all Hispanic dropouts. So this is a kind of, when he talks about a return to the old days of America, they're already at the old days of America where certain strata of society are disadvantaged and live in poverty and are chewed up human garbage. There's no need to return to the past. We're already plummeting towards the past. Here's a practical suggestion to address this trend. Instead of spending money bombing people again in the Middle East, the same way that we create the problems that we're there now trying to solve by bombing, spend that $500 million on creating social enterprises, work opportunities, training, education for people that are poor. A lateral, horizontal, fairer society. I'm sure there'll be hierarchies, I'm sure there'll be a degree of difference, but not this galling difference that we're facing now that's completely unnecessary, completely unfair, and it isn't the fault of the poor, it's the fault of the rich. That is the Trews.
Is a tool that is abused to fool you and to leave you scared and confused. Trews is like the news. If the news was true, I want some Trews. Let's have some Trews.